Shopaholic and Baby by Sophie Kinsella. For Oscar. Starts with some letters, as usual. From Kenneth Prendergast DeWitt Connell Financial Advisors, Forward House 394, High Holborn, London, WC IV7EX. To Mrs. R. Brandon, 37 Maida Vale Mansions, Maida Vale, London, NW60YF, 30th of July, 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, it was a great pleasure to meet you and Luke the other day, and I look forward to taking on the role as your family financial advisor. I am in the process of setting up banking arrangements and a trust fund for your unborn child. In due course, we can discuss what investments you and your husband might make in the baby's name. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. Please do not hesitate to contact me on any matter, no matter how small. Yours sincerely, Kenneth Prendergast, Family Investment Specialist. Another letter from the same people to Mrs. R. Brandon, aka Becky, 1st of August 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your letter. In answer to your question, yes, there will be an overdraft facility on the baby's bank account, although naturally I would not expect it to be used. Yours sincerely, Kenneth Prendergast, Family Investment Specialist. Then another letter from the same, dated 7 August 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your letter. I was intrigued to hear about the psychic message you recently received from your unborn child. However, I'm afraid it is impossible to access the overdraft facility at this stage, even if, as you say, the baby wishes it. Yours sincerely, Kenneth Prendergast, Family Investment Specialist. Chapter 1. Okay, don't panic. Everything's going to be fine. Of course it is. Of course it is. If you could lift up your top, Mrs. Brandon. The sonographer has a pleasant professional air as he looks down at me. I need to apply some jelly to your abdomen before we start the scan. Absolutely, I say without moving a muscle. The thing is, I'm just a teeny bit nervous. I'm lying on a bed at the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, terse with anticipation. Any minute now, Luke and I will see our baby on the screen for the first time since it was just a teeny blob. I can't quite believe it. In fact, I still haven't gotten over the fact that I'm pregnant. In 19 weeks' time, I, Rebecca Brandon, née Bloomwood, am going to be a mother. A mother! Luke's my husband, by the way. We've been married for just over a year, and this is a 100% genuine honeymoon baby. We traveled loads on our honeymoon, but it pretty much worked out that we conceived it when we were staying in this gorgeous resort in Sri Lanka called Unawatuna. All orchids and bamboo trees and beautiful views. Unawatuna Brandon. Miss Unawatuna Orchid Bamboo Tree Brandon. Not sure what Mom would say. My wife had a slight accident in the early stages of pregnancy, Luke explains from his seat beside the bed, so she's a little anxious. He squeezes my hand supportively and I squeeze back. In my pregnancy book, 9 months of your life, it says you should include your partner in all aspects of your pregnancy. Otherwise, you can feel hurt and alienated. So I'm including Luke as much as I possibly can. Like last night, I included him in watching my new DVD, Toned Arms and Pregnancy. He suddenly remembered in the middle that he had to make a business call and missed quite a lot. But the point is, he doesn't feel shut out. You had an accident? The stenographer pauses in her taping at the computer. I fell off this mountain when I was looking for my long-lost sister in a storm, I explained. I didn't know I was pregnant at the time, and I think maybe I bashed the baby. I see. The stenographer looks at me kindly. She has graying brown hair tied back in a knot with a pencil stuck into it. Well, babies are resilient little things. Let's just have a look, shall we? Here it is. The moment I've been obsessing over for weeks. Gingerly, I lift up my top and look down at my swelling stomach. If you could just push all your necklaces aside, she adds, it's quite a collection you have there. They're special pendants. I loop them together with a jangle. This one is an Aztec maternity symbol, and this is a gestation crystal, and this is a chiming ball to soothe the baby, and this is a birthing stone. A birthing stone? You press it on a special spot on your palm and it takes away the pain of labor, I explained. It's in use since ancient Maori times. The stenographer raises an eyebrow and squeezes some transparent gloop on my stomach. Frowning slightly, she applies an ultrasound probe thing to my skin, and instantly a fuzzy black and white image appears. I can't breathe. That's our baby inside me. I dart a look at Luke, and he's gazing at the screen, transfixed. These are the 4 chambers of the heart. The stenographer is moving the probe around. Now we're looking at the shoulders. She points to the screen, and I squint obediently, even though, to be honest, I can't see any shoulders, only blurry curves. There's an arm, one hand. Her voice trails off and she frowns. There's silence in the little room. I feel a sudden grip of fear. That's why she's frowning. The baby's only got one hand. I knew it. A wave of overpowering love and protectiveness rises up inside me. Tears are welling in my eyes. I don't care if our baby's only got one hand. I'll love it just as much. I'll love it more. Luke and I will take it anywhere in the world for the best treatment, and we'll fund research if anyone even dares to give my baby a look. And the other hand, the stenographer's voice interrupts my thoughts. Other hand? I look up, choked. It's got 2 hands? Well, yes. The stenographer seems taken aback at my reaction. Look, you can see them here. She points at the image, and to my amazement, can just about make out the little bony fingers. 10 of them. I'm sorry, I go, wiping my eyes with the tissue she hands me. It's just such a relief. Everything seems absolutely fine as far as I can tell, she says reassuringly. And don't worry, it's normal to be emotional in pregnancy. All those hormones swelling about. Honestly, people keep talking about hormones, like Luke last night when I cried over the TV ad with the puppy. I'm not hormonal, I'm perfectly normal. It was just a very sad ad. Here you go. The stenographer taps at her keyboard again, and a row of black and white scan pictures curls out of the printer, which she hands to me. I peer at the first one, and you can see the distinct outline of a head. It's got a little nose and a mouth and everything. So I've done all the checks. She swivels around in her chair. All I need to know now is whether you want to know the gender of the baby. No, thank you, Luke answers with a smile. We've talked it through at great length, haven't we, Becky? And we both feel it would spoil the magic to find out. Very well, the stenographer smiles back. If that's what you've decided, I won't say anything. She won't say anything. That means she's already seen what the sex is. She could just tell us right now. We hadn't actually decided, had we, I say? Not for definite. Well, yes, we had, Becky. Luke seems taken aback. Don't you remember we talked about it for a whole evening and agreed we wanted it to be a surprise? Oh, right, yes. I can't take my eyes off the blurry picture of the baby, but we could have our surprise now. It would be just as magical. Okay, maybe that's not exactly true, but isn't he desperate to know? Is that really what you want? As I look up, I can see a streak of disappointment in Luke's face. To find out now? Well, I hesitate not if you don't want to. The last thing I want is to upset Luke. He's been so sweet and loving to me since I've been pregnant. Recently, I've had yearnings for all sorts of odd combinations. Like the other day, I had this sudden weird desire for pineapple and a pink cardigan, and Luke drove me to the shops especially to get them. He's about to say something when when his mobile phone starts ringing. He whips it out of his pocket and the stenographer puts up a hand. I'm sorry, but you can't use that in here. Right, Luke frowns as he sees the caller display. It's Ian. I'd better call him back. I don't need to ask which Ian. It'll be Ian Wheeler, the chief marketing honcho of the Arcota Group. Luke has his own PR company, Brandon Communications, and Arcota is Luke's big new client. It was a real coup when he won them, and it's given a fantastic boost to the company. He's already hired more staff and is planning to open loads of new European offices on the back of it. So it's all wonderful for Brandon Communications, but as usual, Luke's working himself into the ground. I've never seen him so at anyone's beck and call before. If Ian Wheeler calls, he always calls him back within 5 minutes, whether he's in another meeting or he's having supper, or even if it's the middle of the night. He says it's the service industry and Arcotis is his mega client, and that's what they're paying for. All I can say is if Ian Wheeler calls while I'm in labor, then the phone is going straight out the window. Is there a landline I can use nearby? Luke is asking the stenographer. Becky, you don't mind. It's fine. I wave a hand. I'll show you, the stenographer says, getting up. I'll be back in a moment, Mrs. Brandon. The two of them disappear out the door, which closes with a heavy clunk. I'm alone. The computer is still on. The ultrasound probe thing is resting next to the monitor. I could just reach over and... No, don't be silly. I don't even know how to use an ultrasound. And besides, it would spoil the magic surprise. If Luke wants us to wait, then we'll wait. I shift on the couch and examine my nails. I can wait for things. Of course I can. I can easily... Oh gosh, no, I can't. Not till December. And if it's all right there in front of me and nobody about, I'll just have a tiny peek. Just really quickly. And I won't tell Luke. We'll still have a magical surprise at the birth, except it won't be quite so much of a surprise for me. Exactly. Leaning right over, I managed to grab the ultrasound stick, apply it to the gel in my stomach, and at once the blurry imagery appears on the screen. I did it! Now I just have to shift it slightly to get the crucial bit. Frowning with concentration, I move the probe around on my abdomen, tilting it this way and that, craning my neck to see the screen. This is a lot easier than I thought. Maybe I should become a stenographer. I'm obviously a bit of a natural. There's the head. Wow, it's huge. And that bit must be... My hand freezes and I catch my breath. I've just spotted it. I've seen the sex of our baby. It's a boy. The image isn't quite as good as the stenographer's, but even so, it's unmistakable. Luke and I are going to have a son. Hello, I say aloud to the screen, my voice cracking slightly with delight. Slightly... Oh, I don't know why that is a delay. Voice just cracking slightly. Hello, little boy. And now I can't stop the tears rolling down my cheeks. We're having a gorgeous baby boy. I can dress him up in cute overalls and buy him a pedal car. and Luke can play cricket with him. We can call him. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna call him? I wonder if Luke would go for Birkin. Then I could get a Birkin to be his nappy bag. Birkin Brandon. That's quite cool. Hi, little baby. I grew gently to the big round head on the screen. Do you want to be called Birkin? What are you doing? The stenographer's voice makes me jump. She's standing at the door with Luke, looking appalled. That's hospital equipment. You shouldn't be touching it. I'm sorry, I say, wiping my eyes. But I just had to have another quick look. Luke, I'm talking to our baby. It's just amazing. Let me see. Luke's eyes light up and he hurries across the room, followed by the stenographer. Where? I don't care if Luke's sees it's a boy and the surprise is ruined. I have to share this precious moment with him. Look, there's the head, I say. Hello, darling. Well, where's the face? Luke sounds a bit perturbed. Don't know. We're on the other side. I give a little wave. It's Mommy and Daddy here. And we love you very, Mrs. Brandon. The stenographer cuts me off. You're talking to your bladder. Well, how was I supposed to know it was my bladder? It looked just like a baby. As we walk into the consultant obstetrician's room, still feeling rather hot about the cheeks. The stenographer gives me this huge, great lecture about how I could have done damage to myself or broken the machine, and we only managed to get away after Luke promised a big donation to the scanner appeal. And, she said, since I hadn't been anywhere near the baby, it was very unlikely I'd seen the sex. But as I sit down opposite Dr. Brain, our obstetrician, I feel myself start to cheer up. He's such a reassuring man. Dr. Brain, he's in his 60s and graying, well-groomed hair and a pinstripe suit and a faint aroma of old-fashioned aftershave. And he's delivered thousands of babies, including Luke. To be honest, I can't really imagine Luke's mother Eleanor giving birth. But I guess it must have happened somehow. And as soon as we discovered I was pregnant, Luke said we had to find out if Dr. Brain was still practicing, because he was the best in the country. Dear boy, he shakes Luke's hand warmly. How are you? Very well indeed. Luke sits down beside me. And how's David? Luke went to school with Dr. Brain's son and always asks after him when we meet. There's just silence as Dr. Brain considers the question. This is the only thing I find a tad annoying about him. He mulls over everything you say as though it's of the greatest importance. Whereas you were actually just making some random remark to keep the conversation going. At our last appointment, I asked where he had bought his tie, and he thought about it for 5 minutes, then phoned his wife to check, and it was all a total saga. And I didn't even like the stupid tie. David's very well, he says, at last, nodding. He sends his regards. There's another pause as he peruses the sheet from the stenographer. Very good, he says eventually. Everything's in order. How are you feeling, Rebecca? I'm feeling like I want to read some more of the letters. But, I mean, I'm not Rebecca, but Jordan and Sophie, Becky, and Barry. So, I don't have any letters of feeling. I haven't read my Sophie Kinsell's in so long. Wow. Oh, I knew I saw it. I don't know. Okay. From Regal Airlines to Mrs. Rebecca Brandon, 14 August 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your letter and the enclosed flight itineraries, doctor's note, and scanned pictures. I agree that your unborn child has taken many flights with Regal Airlines. Unfortunately, it does not qualify for Air Miles since it did not buy a ticket for any of these flights. I am sorry to disappoint and hope you choose Regal Airlines again soon. Yours sincerely, Margaret McNair, Customer Service Manager. financial advisor guy. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your letter. I am aware of the investment bet between yourself and your husband. Please be assured I will not reveal any of your asset allocation strategies to him, nor, quote, sell them like a Russian spy, quote. In answer to your query, I think an investment in gold would be most wise choice for your child. Gold has done so well over the last few years, and in my opinion, will continue to do so. Yours sincerely, Kenneth Prendergast. Kenneth again, dated August 28, 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your letter. I fear that you have misconstrued the meaning of an investment to gold. I would strongly recommend you purchase gold bullion through a recommended broker rather than, as you suggest, quote, get the starfish pendant out of the Tiffany catalog and maybe a ring, end quote. Please do not hesitate to contact me again should you need further guidance. Yours sincerely, Kenneth Prendergast. Oh no. This is from Becky. Dear Fabia, dated 18 August 2003. Dear Fabia, I just wanted to say how much we love your gorgeous, beautiful house. It's the Kate Moss of houses. In fact, it's so stunning. I think it deserves to appear in Vogue, don't you? That reminds me of a teeny favor I wanted to ask. Coincidentally, I am being interviewed by Vogue, and I wondered if I could use the house for the photo shoot. I also wondered if I could put up some personal props and say that Luke and I live there already. After all, we will by the time the magazine comes out. So it makes sense, really. In return, if there's anything I can do for you or any fashion item you would like me to track down, I'll be only too glad. With very best wishes, Becky Brandon. And then from Fabia to Becky, August 19th, 2003. Becky. 1. Chloe Silverado bag, tan. 2. Matthew Williamson purple beaded captain top, size 6. 3. Ally Bricknell princess shoes, green, size 39. Fabia. And from the Akshat School for Girls, from the school librarian, Mrs. Elhart Greaves, 23 August 2003. Dear Becky, how nice to hear from you after all these years. I do indeed remember you as a pupil here. Who could forget the girl who started the friendship handbags craze of 1989? I am delighted you are to appear in Vogue, and it is, as you say, a surprise. Though I must assure you the teachers did not sit in the staff room saying, I bet Becky Bloomwood never makes it into Vogue. I will be sure to buy an issue, although I think it unlikely the headmistress will sanction buying an official commemorative copy for each pupil, as you suggest. With very best wishes, Lorna Hargreaves, librarian. P.S. Do you still have a copy of In the Fifth at Mallory Towers? There's a rather large fine on it. Anyway, 24 minutes of shopaholic. Ouch. My favorite author. Back when I was young, charming, and cute, and fun. Becky Bloomwood, the shopaholic, was like, I was a mixture of Becky Bloomwood and Brittany Murphy and Uptown Girls. Now,